Good evening and welcome to Freedom is a Constant Struggle with your host Keely Nyasha and engineer Stephen Leader. Before I introduce my terrific guests, I have to say to do a shout out to our very significant, albeit bittersweet and small victory. We've got five of the San Francisco 8 free. Well, relatively free. So, and my guests today are Emiliano Echeverria, who is a Central American scholar and one of the original founders of Freedom is a Constant Struggle on Pacifica Radio. And he's a longtime DJ and programmer on KPFA, and he's traveled to Cuba. He's gotten medical care in Cuba, and he's in the film Sicko. And welcome, Emiliano.
Thank you.
And my other illustrious guest is Pierre Labossiere, who is of the Haiti Action Committee, a longtime co-founder of the Haiti Action Committee, longtime champion of freedom and justice for Haiti, who is close to exiled President Jean-Bertrand Aristide. And tonight we are going to discuss the two kidnappings, the kidnapping of Manuel Zelaya from Honduras last week, and in 2004 in Haiti, during the celebration of their bicentennial, Jean-Bertrand Aristide was kidnapped and is currently exiled in South America. Welcome, Pierre. Welcome, Emiliano, to Freedom is a Constant Struggle.
Thank you, Kilo. It's a real pleasure.
All right. And so why don't we just start right off with Emiliano talking about the current coup d'etat, the recent kidnapping, and the exile of President Manuel Zelaya.
Well, it starts, I guess it was almost 2 weeks ago now, on an early Sunday morning. It was around 1 o'clock in the morning. President Zelaya was in bed in his pajamas, and the military broke into his house and got him out of bed and basically ran him out of the country. And that's what they did. They did it at gunpoint. They made him sign a phony confession and got him over to Costa Rica and dumped him there and said, "You're out of here," basically. And so that was it. They got him out, and the U.S. has been pretty passive about the situation, but this is where the situation lies right now. I do believe that President Zelaya is currently in Costa Rica.
Right, and I just want to invite Pierre to talk about the same, almost identical thing that happened in 2004 in Haiti.
Yes, definitely. And before that, I want to send a shout out also to the San Francisco 8. It's really wonderful,
yes.
Their victory and the outcome. And regarding when I heard what happened in Honduras, it brought back very bad memories, and not memories. These are things you feel every day, because the coup in Haiti is continuing against the people. So basically the same thing happened. We lived through that. The people of Haiti have lived through it twice, one from 91 to 94, when the Haitian military at the time had done the deed and gotten President Aristide out of Haiti. And secondly, in 2004, this time it was U.S. Special Forces with Canadian and French Special Forces who kidnapped President Aristide, and is now in exile still in South Africa. So we in Haiti feel very strongly for the people of Honduras. We are united with them in their struggle, because this thing must come to an end. There must be an end to this atrocious situation when people vote for a president and to have people just kidnap them because they are carrying out the wishes of the people.
Right. And who has been installed and who do you think is behind the coup in Honduras? Micheletti, I can't recall his first name.
Micheletti is the titular president. I believe he was the president of the Congress there. And oddly enough, or interestingly enough, he was from the same political party that President Zelaya was from, which says a lot too, because you see, in a lot of these places, and this is ingrained over centuries, there's an oligarchy that exists in Honduras, as it does in many countries.
And for those who might not understand oligarchy,
it's the upper classes of the countries, the bankers, the landowners, the merchants, the people who make the money who make the most money and have the most at stake financially.
And what would you say, Emiliano, is the percentage of the population of this oligarchy in Honduras and
it's
in
less
another
than,
Latin
it's
American?
less than 5% usually.
Right.
It's usually the families are usually very tightly knit, and often there's intermarriage between many of these families, and they all know each other. And like we were also mentioning, and interestingly enough, in many of these families, you have those who stand by the power of the oligarchy, the power of the ruling class, but yet there are many people who are children who were born and raised in that class, who have stepped away from that and been part of the vanguard of struggle. Fidel Castro, for example, is an example of that, of somebody who was born very wealthy. His father was a landowner in Oriente Province, but he saw injustice as a young person, and he walked a different road.
And Che Guevara didn't come from a poor family.
Not at all. Not at all.
And let's talk a little bit about Aristide and what do you think? You know, Aristide. First of all, we should mention that in his first election, he was elected with 67% of the vote.
Yes.
And his second election was something like 90% of the vote.
That's correct.
He was that popular.
That's correct.
But they also, after the first coup d'etat, in which it was a real military coup d'etat using Haitians, Cedras was the coup leader in that instance, and Aristide was forced out very similarly to Zelaya,
Yes.
and was in exile,
Right.
but his term was almost up and it was allowed to run out. And I'm thinking that this is about the same kind of thing that's going to happen in Honduras, that it looks like the Clintons are about to allow the clock to run out on Zelaya and he will just never get back. Do you think that that's what's happening? You can both speak up. We can both talk about this.
I think that's a distinct possibility. The first I heard that Zelaya was going to be entering into negotiations in Costa Rica through the efforts of President Arias of Costa Rica. I already was suspicious because